why the Gospel of Thomas excludes the birth, crucifixion, and resurrection, and why it was banned and buried. The Gospel of Thomas was not excluded because it was incomplete, unsophisticated, or historically weak. It was excluded because it was dangerous. Dangerous to authority, dangerous to priesthoods, dangerous to doctrines built on fear, guilt, and dependency. Most dangerous of all, it threatened a system that survives only when truth is externalized, mediated, and delayed through religion, doctrine, and institutional authority. By pointing inward, away from rituals, hierarchies, and promised futures, it dismantled the very mechanisms of control that depend on dependence. A truth that can be seen, known, and realized within the individual cannot be owned, regulated, or postponed, and that is precisely why it had to be silenced. What Thomas reveals cannot be controlled, and what cannot be controlled must be silenced. One of the most disturbing facts about the Gospel of Thomas is not what it teaches, but what it refuses to validate. It contains no virgin birth, no crucifixion spectacle, no blood atonement theology, no resurrection mythology. This is not an oversight. It is a direct rejection of the narrative framework that later Christianity would weaponize for power, control, and obedience. The Gospel of Thomas is not a storybook, not a passion play, and not a salvation drama built on death. It is a sayings gospel. 114 uncompromising teachings attributed to Yeshua, concerned with one thing only: awakening. It does not glorify suffering, sanctify execution, or demand belief in supernatural events. It speaks to perception, awareness, self-knowledge, and inner authority. Thomas does not ask the reader to worship Yeshua. It demands the reader to become conscious. This alone made it intolerable. By omitting the birth narrative, Thomas refuses divine pedigree and messianic mythology. By omitting the crucifixion, it rejects the idea that truth requires blood sacrifice. By omitting the resurrection, it destroys the entire theology of deferred salvation and future reward. There is no inherited guilt in Thomas, no debt to be paid, no savior standing between humanity and truth, no institution holding the keys to redemption. Instead, Thomas confronts the reader with a threat far more dangerous than hearsay. The kingdom is inside you, and it is outside of you. That sentence alone collapses priesthoods, altars, sacraments, and hierarchies. A text that teaches individuals to find truth within themselves cannot be controlled. It cannot be franchised. It cannot be monetized. It cannot be enforced by fear. There is no role for clergy as mediators, no leverage through ritual compliance, no authority granted by apostolic succession. The entire religious economy, sin, forgiveness, sacrifice, salvation, evaporates. This is why the Gospel of Thomas was not debated honestly. It was not corrected. It was not improved. It was silenced, branded heretical, removed from public circulation, hidden, buried, nearly erased, not because it contradicted Yeshua, but because it exposed what was done in his name. The institutional church required a crucified Savior to justify obedience, a resurrected body to promise future reward, and a miraculous birth to claim divine monopoly. Thomas required none of it. It offered no external authority to submit to, only an internal truth to confront. The absence of the birth, crucifixion, and resurrection narratives is therefore not a flaw in the Gospel of Thomas. It is the reason it survived as a threat. It reveals Yeshua, who does not demand belief, worship, or submission, but calls for courage, self-honesty, and awakening. And that is precisely why it could never be allowed to stand in the open. The Gospel of Thomas was never meant to survive in a world built on obedience, belief, and borrowed authority. It does not offer comfort to institutions, excuses to power, or escape from responsibility. It leaves no one kneeling before altars, waiting for permission, or hoping for salvation at some later hour. It places the burden of truth exactly where religion fears it most, within the individual. That is why it was buried. That is why it was branded heretical. And that is why it still unsettles those who encounter it honestly. Thomas does not ask whether you believe. It asks whether you see. And once seen, nothing built on illusion, fear, or control can survive unchallenged.